Hokage hundreds of millions of rewards, Chapter 1-20. Chapter 1 God Level Reward System. Fuck, another boring day. There was a voice of complaint in the room, and the owner of this voice was Moyu. I thought that this kind of life at home where there is food, drink, play and nothing to do, even if you live in the house for 10 or 8 years, it is not a problem. But Moyu found that things were not as simple as he thought. His 1010 is a series of online activities such as playing games, watching live broadcasts, and surfing videos. Without a mobile phone, Moyu believed that few people could stay at home for a few days, especially a young man like him. Moyu sat up from the bed and walked to the window habitually. He was thinking about whether to try it today, and counting how many times the leaves swayed, how many pieces were blown off, how many times the birds chirped, and a series of extremely boring operations to kill time in the circle of friends. Leaf, in front of him, he thought of the word, Konoha, so he thought of a good plan. That is, a look back at the classic anime Hokage Ninja. As soon as he thought of this, Moyu immediately took action. However, the moment he clicked on the video, his eyes suddenly went black, and then voices kept ringing in his mind. Ding! God Level Reward System is being activated. The system has been activated, and the identity of the host is being confirmed. Ding! The identity of the host is confirmed, start binding. God Level Reward System, the binding is successful, and the current world is being confirmed. Ding! Hokage World confirmed success. After a series of reminders sounded in his mind, Moyu was still confused. Who would have thought that just opening the Hokage Ninja video would travel to the Hokage world, which is too far-fetched? He, who thought it was a dream, glanced at the surrounding environment. He didn't know what words to use to describe his mood at this time. Because, he really crossed. Traversing into a world that is very strange and a little familiar, the world of Hokage. The reason why I say it is a little familiar is because Moyu has seen the anime, Hokage Ninja, especially the scene in front of him is the very familiar, Land of Fire Konoha Hidden Village. It is worth mentioning that although this name was named by Hashirama, it was thought of by his good friend Madara. When I was watching this anime, Moyu once imagined that he would have the so-called chakra in his body. Could he also open the handsome eyes like Sharingan and try to release all kinds of tolerance through hand seal? The naive idea of art. Illusions are beautiful, but reality is cruel. But starting from today, his so-called fantasy is possible because he has traveled to the Hokage world. The boy he possessed and his name had a feather in it, called Toki Takagawa. Moyu recited the name subconsciously, but the system's voice suddenly rang. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully unlocking the first reward of the God Level Reward System. Talent increased 100 times. 100x increase in chakra. Get the power of Shukaku, i.e., Aikiao chakra. Get one chance to draw a lottery. After hearing these prompts from the system, Moyu was sluggish. For a while, he thought that he had heard it wrong, or that there was a bug in the system. If not, this reward is too awesome, right? Moreover, it is only the first reward. After standing in place for a long time, Moyu finally regained his senses. What he did not expect was that the system first reward would be activated with a single name. What is the difference between this and a free gift? At this moment, Moyu just wanted to say, I like this system. Because of this, Moyu made sure of one thing, that the rewards just now were all real, because he had already seen the reward information on the panel. God Level Reward System, first reward, has been unlocked. 1 open black lens bracket talent increased by 100 times close black lens bracket. 2 open black lens bracket increase chakra by 100 times close black lens bracket. 3 open black lens bracket power of Shukaku close black lens bracket 1 tail chakra. 4 unlocked in the second stage. Chance to draw 1 time. Unlock second reward conditions. 1 kill, Shui Mu, 2 kill, Peachland. Moyu took a look. It was not difficult to unlock the second reward. Because of this, Moyu is now looking forward to what the second reward will bring him. At this time, Moyu fell into a beautiful fantasy. It is no accident that the name, Takagawa Tokyu, will shock the entire ninja world in the future. Just as Moyu was looking forward to it, a voice suddenly rang in his ears. Shiyu, why are you in a daze? The graduation exam is about to start. The voice fell, and a familiar face appeared in front of Moyu's eyes, which made him startled. Because the visitor is none other than Uzumaki Naruto. Takagawa Takiwa and Uzumaki Naruto are classmates. Not only that, the situation of the two of them is basically the same. So far, the two of them have only mastered basic physical skills, simple body techniques and introductory transformation techniques, but none of them have masters in advanced avatar techniques. That's why Naruto likes to play with Tokiha. There may be another reason, both of them are orphans. But this is only temporary. After Naruto steals the sealed book, the latter's life trajectory will be completely changed. As for Takagawa Tokyu, his life is still ordinary. Whether he can be promoted to Chunin in the future is a question. But it's different now, because of Moyu's arrival. His life, his destiny, will be rewritten. Chapter 2 Graduation Exam. After many thoughts flashed in his mind, Moyu also muttered. Moyu, Shiyu, maybe this is destiny. Well, from today onwards, my name is Takagawa Tokyu. It's just that Shiyu didn't expect that he had just crossed into the Hokage world and met the graduation exam. As far as he knew, as long as he passed the graduation exam of the ninja school, he could become a genin smoothly. Thinking of this, Shiyu was looking forward to it. Let's go together, Naruto urged. Tokyu nodded, and then went to the ninja school with Naruto. Originally, Shiyu was still worried about whether he would pass the graduation exam this time, but now he doesn't have to worry. Because now he is already a genius. Moreover, he also has the chakra of Aikyo Shukaku, so the so-called graduation examination is already a pediatrics for him. After a moment, the two successfully arrived at the ninja school, and in the class, Shiyu met 8 other people in the Konoha 12 Shaokyang. Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura, Hyuga Hinata, Yamanaka Ino, Inazuka Kiba, Aburame Shino, Nara Shikamaru, and Akamichi Choji. In addition to the 8 of them and Naruto, the other 3 are also very popular in the anime. They are Lee Rock, Tenten and Hyuga Neji. But because they are 1 year higher than Naruto, they have already graduated from ninja school and become genin. As for Sakai, he is barely the 13th Shaokyang. Of course, in addition to seeing Sasuke, 2 Jinchuriki, Column Sun, Hinata and them. Shiyu also saw some other unfamiliar faces. Like Shiyu, they were all students with relatively mediocre aptitudes. And the teacher who taught Shiyu and the others was Konoha Chunin, Iruka Uno. Of Iruka Tokyu, not only because he is now his teacher, but also because this anime character is very lovable. Shortly after Tokiha and Naruto were in their positions, Iruka's voice followed. Today is the day of the graduation exam, are you ready? Okay. Except for Tokyu and Sasuke, who doesn't like to talk, the entire class responded loudly. Especially Naruto, a troublemaker who likes to make troubles, shouts loudly, for fear that others will not hear. Then, start the graduation exam now. The person whose name will be called will come to the next classroom. By the way, this time the test question is clone technique. Prepare yourself. Clone technique, the phantom condensed by chakra, is one of the basic ninjutsu. Function, not aggressive, but can be used to confuse opponents. Only after mastering the clone technique in the future, based on this ninjutsu, you can master a more advanced clone technique. For example, the most common shadow clone technique, Fuma Shuriken, shadow windmill, etc., and these are all ninjutsu with entity. In addition, after your master attribute changes, you can also perform a stronger, 5 elements clone technique. For example, wood clone technique, water clone technique, earth clone technique, and so on. When they heard the question of clone technique, most of them were not panicked, except for Naruto and a small number of people. Ah, why is it so unfortunate? It happens to be my worst ninjutsu. Naruto between the words stretched his face, then turned to look at Shiyu. However, he was surprised to find that the latter today was not as nervous as he used to practice. On the contrary, it is especially calm. I said, Shiyu, the exam question is clone technique, aren't you worried? What's the use of worrying, and worrying about not being able to let you pass the test? Ah, that's true. Naruto was stunned between the words, and then said with a bitter face, as of now, I can only resign to fate. And between the two of them talking, the exam has already started. The first one, Uchiha Sasuke. Second, Hyuga Hinata. Soon, Sasuke, Hinata, and Sakura successfully passed the graduation exam and obtained that ninja forehead. Which means that they are already a genin. Naruto was very envious of this scene. Next, Takiwa Takagawa. Hearing this voice, Naruto also said to the encouragement, Shiyu, come on, I believe you can do it. Should be fine. Naruto was a little surprised by Shiyu's answer, because the latter has never been as confident as he is today. Not only Naruto, but even Sasuke, Sakura and others were stunned. Needless to say, it was the first time they had met such a confident Shiyu. Immediately after, Shiyu walked out of the classroom under the eyes of everyone, and arrived at the examination room next door a few seconds later. There were only 2 people in the exam room, the first was Iruka, and the second was Iruka's friend, Mizuki. And this person is also the one who instructed Naruto to steal the sealed book. He is a sinister villain who was later used by Orochimaru as a test subject. Although he did not die, he has since become a waste. However, he does have a good lover named Chun. Seeing Shiyu, Iruka had no hope at all. As the former's teacher, he couldn't be more clear about Shiyu's strength. In the practice 3 days ago, the latter could not even condense a chakra clone. After looking at Shiyu for a while, Iruka said, Shiyu, you can start when you're ready. Hearing this, Shiyu didn't talk nonsense either, and directly put on the handprint of the surgical technique, feeling the flow of chakra in his body. Immediately afterwards, a low voice came from his throat. The Art of Clone. 3rd chapter. If it doesn't make a sound, it's already a blockbuster. Bang! As a cloud of white smoke dissipated, Iruka and Mizuki were both taken aback by what they saw. Because at this time, not just one person, but dozens of them were reflected in their pupils, and all of these people were Shiyu. In other words, these are the products that Shiyu condensed with chakra. The number of clones represents a person's chakra volume and follow-up potential, which is why the graduation exam of the ninja school is set up, the Art of Clone. Under normal circumstances, for students who have just graduated, the number of chakra clones they can condense is basically between 3 and 10, which is the standard. In the future, as their strength improves, the more chakra they can condense, but it will also reach a limit. Because how much chakra can be stored in a person's body is innate and cannot be changed. Once the chakra stored in the body is exhausted, the human body will fall into a state of emptiness. Because chakra is the product of the fusion of physical power and spiritual power, that is, the root of life. For example, Uchiha Madara, who should have died, lived for more than 100 years without dying because Gedomazo, demonic statue of the outer path, provided him with chakra. The end, it was because the plan was all set up that he took the initiative to cut off the connection with Gedomazo, demonic statue of the outer path, and voluntarily died. So, if a person forcibly depletes all the chakras in the human body, there is only one result, which is death. For example, Kakashi, Hatake 5-5, Nagato, Chiyo mother-in-law, etc., they all died because they used up all the chakra in their bodies. This is why multiple shadow clone technique is listed as forbidden technique by the first generation Senju Hashirama. Because this ninjutsu will evenly distribute a person's chakra, if one is not careful, it is easy for a ninja to die immediately after performing it. As for Naruto, that's because he belongs to the Uzumaki family, and he has an extremely large chakra. But just having a huge chakra, if the talent is not enough, it will be in vain. At the age of Shiyu and Naruto, the amount of chakra that can be stored in the body is limited, and those who can condense more than 10 chakra clones are talented students. The more it gathers, the more evil this person is. Whether it is clone jutsu or other ninjutsu, it is not enough to rely on chakrado alone, but also requires a great understanding of ninjutsu. The higher the attainment of ninjutsu, the stronger the release. Originally, Shiyu had exhausted himself in condensing a clone, but after he found the God-level reward system, he had increased the talent by 100 times, and he already fully understood the mystery of the art of clone. Only then did dozens of clones condense all at once. 100-fold increase in chakra, and both are indispensable. Moreover, this number was the result of Moyu's intentional control, because the area of the classroom was so large. Otherwise, it is not difficult for the number to exceed 100. Looking at the dozens of identical Takagawa Tokiha, Iruka said, "Mizuki, hit me." Why? I wonder if I'm dreaming now. No wonder Iruka would have this idea, because in his memory, Shiyu's aptitude was mediocre, and he belonged to the crane tail level like Naruto. But what about now? Dozens of avatars were condensed all at once, which undoubtedly made Shiyu a top genius level student. Could this not surprise him? Iruka. To be honest, I can't believe the fact either. Shueimyu also looked astonished between the words, and there was a trace of envy in his astonishment. Although he concealed it well, he was captured by Tokiyu. Mizuki's talent is the same as Iruka's, both belong to the kind of middle and lower talents. Iruka is content with reality, but he is not willing to be ordinary, which is why he asked Naruto to steal the sealed book. The two were immersed in confusion, until Shiyu's voice sounded and they were called back from it. "Iruka-sensei, is it alright?" "But, that's fine." In response, Iruka also picked up a piece of ninja forehead displayed on the tabletop and announced, "Shiyu, congratulations on passing the test." "Thank you, teacher." Shiyu thanked him politely, and then took the ninja forehead from Iruka's hand. As Tokiyu left, Iruka didn't forget to mutter to himself, "I didn't expect that Shiyu, who used to be ordinary in the past, turned out to be a blockbuster in the graduation assessment." It really fulfills a sentence: if you don't make a sound, you will be a blockbuster. At the same time, when you returned to the classroom, some people were ready to laugh at him, but their words stopped abruptly before they could reach their lips. Not for others, just because they saw what was in Shiyu's hands. Ninja forehead, proof of passing the graduation exam. And Naruto was the first to break the silence, because he had the best relationship with Shiyu. "Shiyu, have you passed the test?" Originally, he thought that Shiyu and him were half a pound, but now Shiyu actually passed the assessment of the clone technique. The two of them were the worst at. Could this not surprise him? Shiyu nodded, then raised the ninja forehead in his hand. After confirming that this was not a dream, everyone was puzzled. They really couldn't figure it out. How did Shiyu, who couldn't condense a chakra clone 3 days ago, pass the graduation examination? Chapter 4: The Greatest Genius in History. Those students who were similar in aptitude to Shiyu, or even a little bit more talented than Shiyu, whispered to each other, "I didn't expect that even Shiyu's crane tail could pass the test. It seems that we have hope." Yes. Shikamaru, who had a genius mind, looked at Shiyu's calm expression and had 2 guesses in his heart. First, cheat. Second, sympathy. It's no wonder that he would have this idea, because in this ninja world there are all kinds of ninja tools, and ninjutsu scrolls, that can help ninjas to accomplish some impossible ninjutsu. Therefore, he suspects that Shiyu is likely to use this item to cheat. As for the possibility of sympathy, perhaps it was because Shiyu had enlightened in these 3 days, and could finally condense a chakra clone. So Iruka gave graduation out of sympathy. However, just after Shikamaru completed the analysis, a message brought by Kiba who passed the assessment directly gave him a blow. Shikamaru, Ino, you can't guess what I just saw. What did you see? Ino asked curiously. I just took a sneak peek at Shiyu's results when I took the ninja forehead protector. How many do you think he has? 3. That's the minimum standard, Ino said. Shiyu's strength is obvious to all. When I practiced a few days ago, I couldn't condense a single clone. I guess it is 1. Shikamaru is obviously more inclined to his second guess. Because Shiyu is an orphan, and his life is basically supported by Konoha, it is very good to be able to maintain the status quo. How can there be money to buy any ninja equipment? Moreover, if you cheat and catch a current one, the consequences are quite serious. 1. Sakura muttered, then questioned, how can one pass the test? It should be because Mr. Iruka saw that Shiyu finally formed a clone, and his various grades were barely qualified, so he passed it with reluctance. Think about it carefully, did the others come out quickly if they passed or failed, but Shiyu, he stayed there for a long time. Hearing Shikamaru's analysis, everyone felt that it made some sense. However, it was denied by Kiba. Shikamaru, you guessed wrong this time, Shiyu's clone is neither 1 nor 3. 2, Ino asked. At this time, even Sasuke, who has always been taciturn, was attracted and cast his gaze involuntarily. The extremely curious Naruto couldn't wait, and urged, Kiba, you are saying, don't make our appetite. That's it. Seeing the impatient look of everyone, Kiba no longer hides it. 53. As soon as this number came out, everyone in the audience was shocked, even Sasuke. Because the chakra clone he condensed was only 16, but even so, he was already the most outstanding genius in this session. But now, his genius name seems to be overshadowed by others. Kiba, are you kidding me? Sakura asked first, and Ino and the others also nodded, because they didn't even exceed 10. Moreover, Shiyu's past performance was so mediocre that they had to be questioned. Furthermore, 53 chakra clones have not appeared since the ninja school opened. If this is true, then you will become the strongest genius since the opening of the ninja school, which is why Iruka and Mizuki were so surprised just now. Seeing everyone's unbelief, Kiba puffed out her cheeks and said, I didn't even believe it. But Iruka-sensei's rating sheet is clearly written, and this is what I saw with my own eyes. Kiba, who was in the middle of the conversation, saw that everyone was still suspicious, but he was a little anxious, and continued with a pat on his chest. If you don't believe me, go to Iruka-sensei for verification after the exam, and then you'll know if I lied. Hearing Kiba's confident words, although there are still doubts in their hearts, they have begun to believe in them. Immediately, their gazes towards Shiyu were a little different. Even Sasuke Gaolang, the second Jinchuriki column's son, was no exception. If what Kiba said was true, then you had 3 times as many clones as him, which made him feel that he was the strongest in this session. The atmosphere was silent for a while, and it was still Naruto who broke the situation. Shiyu, is what Kiba said true? I said they may not believe it. If they want to know the truth, they will verify it themselves. Shiyu's words made everyone very stunned. They didn't expect that the latter, who was usually submissive, was reborn today, and his whole personality became more confident. Is what Choji said true? Did he really condense 53 chakra clones? Of course, such an act against the sky is undoubtedly hard to believe. Sakura, who has always admired Sasuke, stood up and shouted, I don't believe it. In my eyes, Sasuke-kun is the strongest. I agree. Some girls like Ino also agreed, and they still believed that Sasuke was the strongest until things were confirmed. No way, who said that Shiyu's performance on weekdays was too bad? Also, this guy like Kiba likes to play tricks on people on weekdays, so they won't fully believe it until it's proven. When Naruto saw this, he fought for Shiyu and said, "I don't care whether you believe it or not, I believe it unconditionally anyway." Naruto, look, besides you, who else would believe this absurd thing? Sakura retorted. However, at this moment, a very shy voice sounded in the crowd, making Sakura's pretty face twitch. I believe. Everyone who heard the words looked at them one after another, and they were very surprised when they saw the owner of this voice, even Shiyu was no exception. Because this voice is none other than Hinata. P.S. Let me explain here, 53 chakra clones are really not many. In the first episode of the animation, Iruka said that the other students have at least 3. The animation is level 52. When Ebisu taught Naruto, he said that Sakura can have 5 clones. If all the chakras are exhausted, 10 or so can be divided, and it is conceivable that the chakra of the protagonist is increased by 100 times. Add more rules. Add more rules. 2,000 flowers plus 1 more. 1,000 evaluation votes plus 1 more. 50 monthly pass plus 1 more. 5 people reward plus 1 more. Well, that's all. I hope I can become a code word machine with no emotion. I hope everyone can fulfill me. Chapter 5 Facts that have settled. At this point, the class is divided into 3 teams. Most people such as Sakura and Ino choose not to believe it, and a small number of rationalists such as Shikamaru choose to wait and see, but only Hinata and Naruto choose to believe Tokiha. If Tokyu guessed correctly, the reason Hinata chose to believe him was probably because of Naruto. Because he and Naruto are best friends, and Naruto is the object of Hinata's love, so the latter chooses to believe him. This may be the so-called love house and woo. But this is just Tokyu's reasoning, and whether this is the case or not can only see Akatsuki in the future. Originally, Sakura, Ino, and others wanted to refute Hinata, but at this time, several students who had no qualifications and Shiyu wanted to get up and down returned to the classroom one after another. However, they all looked downcast. Moreover, they did not have ninja forehead protection in their hands, in other words, they did not pass the graduation assessment. You must know that several of them are much better than Shiyu, and they can condense a chakra clone. But the result? Such students did not pass the graduation examination, but Shiyu did. Wouldn't it surprise them? That's why they don't believe what Kiba said just now. Immediately afterwards, another student walked into the classroom in a hurry, still complaining. It doesn't make sense. I didn't pass the test. How can Shiyu's crane pass? Because he can condense 2 chakra clones, but still failed to pass the assessment. Seeing this, Sakura immediately stopped those people. Let me ask you, did you see Shiyu's test results just now? What do you think? Those who have not passed the assessment are not eligible to go forward to receive that ninja forehead. One of them sighed, then looked at Shiyu, and said again, I'm pregnant with Shiyu, is that kid cheating? It's very likely that we'll find out when we go to Mr. Iruka for verification after the assessment is over. Several people nodded in unison. If they couldn't figure it out today, they would definitely not be able to sleep tonight after eating. Not only them, but even Sakura, Shikamaru, and Ino all hold the same idea, even Sasuke, who has always been alone. No way, who called this thing too unbelievable? Immediately afterwards, another voice came from the next classroom, the last one, Uzumaki Naruto. Finally it's my turn. Naruto between the words was already nervous, because those with the same grades as him failed. Shiyu also saw Naruto's worry, and immediately said, come on. Naruto nodded heavily, and then strode towards the next classroom, but when he came back, he was the same as the previous few people, and he looked downcast. Don't guess, it's obviously failing. But everyone didn't care about Naruto's failing grades. Only Hinata glanced at Naruto, not knowing whether it was out of shyness or something. She didn't come forward to offer condolences. Only Tuichi Man stepped forward and said with ears, "Naruto, don't be discouraged, I have a way to make you pass the test." "Really?" "Shish, be quiet." "Oh, I see." Everyone was shocked when they saw Naruto, and after swept away the decadence for a second, Sakura and others were also confused. They all wanted to know what Shiyu said to Naruto, to have such a great magical power, which could cheer up a person who failed the test so quickly. However, before they stepped forward to ask, Iruka walked in through the door of the classroom. Seeing the latter, everyone immediately gathered around. Seeing this, Iruka was also stunned, and immediately asked, "What are you doing?" "Iruka-sensei, we would like to ask you about one thing." As Sasuke's #1 fangirl, Sakura spoke first. "Oh, what's the matter?" When Iruka's voice fell, Ino was not to be outdone. Before Sakura could speak, she was the first to speak. "Is it Shiyu? Did he really condense 53 chakra clones?" As soon as Ino said this, everyone held their breaths, waiting for Iruka's answer. Iruka looked at Tokyo and said with a gratified smile on her face, "I didn't expect you to know so soon." After Iruka's confirmation, the whole class exploded in an instant, because no one thought this was true. HMPH, now I believe it. Kiba snorted coldly, venting everyone's disbelief in him just now, but at the same time, a little jealousy could be heard from his tone. This kind of emotion cannot be eliminated at this age, it is human nature. The same is true for Sasuke. Although he only lost to Tokyo in the clone technique, Sasuke, who has always been strong, is still a little unwilling and even unhappy. First, jealousy is inevitable at this age. Second, he hated himself for not being a genius, because he knew that if he wanted to defeat his brother Uchiha Itachi, he had to be more evil. Clearly unacceptable to anyone other than Naruto and Hinata. No one thought that Toki Takagawa, who had been mediocre for 6 years, would be a blockbuster in the graduation assessment. Although it is only the clone technique, it is enough to brag. "Teacher, Shiyu's usual grades are so poor, why did he suddenly break out today, did he? Did he cheat?" Naturally, there will be doubts about such a performance against the sky. "Don't worry, Mr. Mizuki and I can testify on this point that Shiyu didn't cheat." As soon as Iruka said this, it undoubtedly cut off everyone's last hope. At this moment, the way they looked at Shiyu changed completely. They never imagined that the object of contempt they usually despised had now become an existence they could only look up to. What a ridiculous change of roles on both sides. After some exclamation, Iruka also raised his voice and said, "Okay, everyone take their seats, I have something to announce." Chapter 6 Sealed Book and LT, font color equals #FF0000 and GT, picture and LT, font and GT. All students who pass the assessment today can enter their personal information in the archives department tomorrow. Also, there will be a graduation briefing, at 9 in the morning in 3 days. After the announcement, Iruka turned and left, as he was in a hurry to report the news to the third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. Needless to say, it's about Shiyu's assessment results. And Shiyu also left the classroom under the envy and hatred of everyone, along with Naruto. Because Shiyu told him there was a way to pass the test, he couldn't wait now. As soon as he left the classroom, Naruto hurriedly asked, "Shiyu, what can you do?" "It'll be delivered to your door." "Ah, there is such a good thing." Shiyu nodded, and then said, "Master Shuimu will come back to tell you the method later, then you can just do it." "Mizuki teacher." Naruto looked puzzled. "Yes. However, you can't let him see that you knew about it in advance, otherwise he wouldn't tell you." Hearing the words, Naruto nodded heavily. For him, as long as he can pass the graduation examination to become a genin, it is more important than anything else. He wants to use his strength to prove the value of his existence. Then, let's eat ramen now, Naruto suggested. It's not the time to celebrate. What you have to do now is go to a place where no one is there for a while. Why are you shutting yourself up? If you fail the assessment, if you don't pretend to be unhappy, why would Teacher Shuimu tell you other methods? Chiyu, I didn't expect you to be so smart now. Naruto in the middle of the conversation gave Chiyu a thumbs up and grinned. Hey, then I'm leaving. Before waiting for Chiyu to nod, Naruto ran away without a trace. Looking at the direction where Naruto disappeared, Moyu muttered, "The Book of Seals, I really look forward to it." Book of Seals is a scroll that sealed many forbidden techniques in the first generation, but apart from the known multiple shadow clone techniques, it is unknown what other techniques are in it. 2 hours later. Naruto hurriedly found Moyu, and he still looked excited. Needless to say, Mizuki has already started to implement his plan. The reason why Chiyu didn't tell Naruto the truth now was obviously because he was afraid that his personality would ruin his layout, and it was indispensable to help Naruto pass the graduation assessment. Furthermore, he is also very interested in the Book of Seals. Naruto told Tokyo the method that Mizuki told him truthfully, and Tokyo asked Naruto to do the same and waited for him at the destination. After a moment, Mizuki helped Naruto to successfully steal the Book of Seals, and he himself quickly spread the news. Then he just kills Naruto, then transforms into Naruto and escapes from Konoha. So who? I don't even know that he did this thing, and he can still take the sealed book as his own. However, he didn't know that all of this was in the calculations of the two. This first person is naturally Chiyu. And the second person is the current third-generation Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. The 3 generations have already seen through all of this, and he knew that Shuimu had bad intentions, so he took this opportunity to count on it. It has 3 purposes. First, let Iruka clear the estrangement in Naruto's heart. Second, eradicate Mizuki, an ambitious person. Third, let Naruto have the opportunity to read the Book of Seals once. Otherwise, how could the Book of Seals, which was placed in the office of the third generation of Hokage, be easily stolen by Naruto? You must know that Sarutobi Hiruzen was in the office at the time, but Naruto succeeded with only one trick, the art of seduction, which is obviously unscientific. Furthermore, he did not take the initiative to chase Naruto afterwards, but gave Naruto enough time to escape before letting some of his subordinates pretend, while he himself hid in the office and used a crystal ball to peep at everything. Progress. At this point, its purpose has been clearly revealed. After Naruto stole the Book of Seals, he quickly rushed to the forest cabin designated by Mizuki. By the time Naruto arrived, Chiyu had been waiting here for a long time. Chiyu, I brought the Book of Seals. Oh, then I'll quickly open it and see what kind of awesome ninjutsu is in this Book of Seals. Naruto nodded heavily, and then untied the knot of the Book of Seals. Then, the first forbidden technique that catches your eye is multiple shadow clone. And then followed by the seal of the 4 elephants, the 2 serpents killing, the ghouls band, impure world reincarnation, multiplication detonator talismans, the 8 inner gates, and Izanagi, and Izanami, and a series of forbidden technique. Naruto, hurry up and pick a few to practice. Good. After some choices, Naruto chose the easiest one, and one of them was multiple shadow clone. This result was not expected by Chiyu. First of all, other forbidden techniques are too difficult, hand seal is too complicated. Secondly, the graduation test is the clone jutsu, so Naruto feels that as long as he learns this ninjutsu, he will definitely pass the test. Chiyu, don't you practice? I'll just take a look. Chiyu replied, and then said, hurry up and practice, you should be able to pass the test when Teacher Shuimu arrives. Hearing the words, Naruto nodded and began to bury his head in practice. And Chiyu began to study the Book of Seals with great concentration. With his current talent, It is impossible to learn these forbidden techniques in such a short period of time. So, what he has to do now is to write down all the spells. P.S. The old iron who has flowers and evaluation tickets can send it, and a picture is attached to the upper right corner. Chapter 7 3 Tomo Sharingan. After half an hour, Shiyu had memorized all the ninjutsu in it, and seeing Naruto still practicing, he thought that he still had a chance to draw a lottery. With that in mind, he directly opened the lottery interface. In addition to a blue frame on the interface, there is the item bar below. If there is an accident, the things obtained by the lottery will be stored here. Immediately after, Shiyu clicked the Start button in the blue frame with trepidation, and in the next second, the items in the frame quickly scrolled. Shiyu vaguely saw several Fire Attribute Chakra, Rinnegan, Demonic Illusion Kotoamatsukami, Rasengan, 2 Tomo Sharingan. Needless to say, there is basically nothing bad in it. While Shiyu waited, the frame finally settled on a pair of eyes, Yuhi-colored eyes with 3 commas. When he saw the result, Shiyu couldn't help but be excited. He didn't expect to win something amazing in the first lottery. Ding! Congratulations to the host for getting 3 Tomo Sharingan. With the sound of the system, Shiyu confirmed that this was not a dream, and he drew the Sharingan that he had been dreaming of. Moreover, it is the ultimate in the first state of Sharingan. Tomo Sharingan written at the bottom of the frame. Shiyu calmed down his excitement, clicked to confirm, and then the 3 Tomo Sharingan appeared in the inventory below. Shiyu didn't hesitate to use it directly. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully opening 3 Tomo Sharingan. With the sound of the system, Shiyu's pupils suddenly changed color, from black to Yuhi color, with 3 comma-shaped Tomo evenly distributed. Ordinary Sharingan can be divided into 3 stages. The main morphological change is reflected in the increase of Tomo in the eyeball. When the eyes are first opened, there is only 1 Tomo in the eyeball. With the enhancement of chakra and the increase in the proficiency and stimulation of pupil surgery, ordinary Sharingan will continue to evolve. Each stage of evolution, Tomo in the eyeball will increase by 1, up to 3. 3 Tomo Sharingan is the most advanced form of ordinary Sharingan. The more Tomo, the more capable he is. In addition to the ability to see through the eye, can see the chakra veins, see through all the subtle movements of the opponent and the hand seal, and the hypnotic eye release demonic illusion to control the opponent. It can also copy and see through the non-Kekkei Genkei, S ninja, body, Phantom 3. This ability is indeed a bit pervert, worthy of being one of the 3 major pupil techniques. At this moment, Moyu looked at Naruto, and could already perfectly understand the latter's chakra veins, subtle movements and hand seal, S technique. At this time, Naruto is focusing on practicing the multiple shadow clone technique. As for the others, under the premise of the clone technique, the progress is not bad. Shiyu, I think I have almost learned this ninjutsu. Then take a rest. Hey, that's what I think too. Naruto laughed, then slumped to the ground and rested. Woke up, obviously exhausted. Practicing ninjutsu requires a constant consumption of chakra, so long hours of practice can easily get tiresome. Call out. At this moment, there was a sudden sound of breaking through the air in the forest. Immediately afterwards, a figure appeared in front of the 2 of them, and they were quite familiar with that face. It was none other than Iruka. Iruka saw Naruto. He wanted to reprimand Naruto, the troublemaker, but when he saw Tokyo was also present, he was stunned. Before Iruka could ask, Tokyo was the first to speak. Iruka-sensei, you have come. As soon as Shiyu said this, Iruka was dumbfounded again. Listening to the former's words meant that he was waiting for him here. Naruto originally wanted to show a genin technique in front of Iruka, but at this moment he was also interested in Tokyo's words, and put it behind him for the time being. Shiyu, what do you mean by that? Iruka-sensei, you and I know Naruto well, so if anyone can find him first, it's you, teacher. Also, so that you can find us faster, teacher, I deliberately left some traces along the way. Hearing Shiyu's words, Naruto was stunned. Shiyu, why do you want Sensei Iruka to find us quickly? Iruka, who heard the words, was also puzzled. For some reason, today's Shiyu has changed a lot from the past, as if it was a different person. If it hadn't been for the fact that Shiyu's chakra had not changed, Iruka would have suspected that Shiyu was a fake. The reason is very simple, because I want to expose Mizuki's evil deeds. Mizuki. Iruka was shocked, and then asked in doubt, what does this have to do with Mizuki? Let Naruto tell you the answer. Me. Naruto, who was speaking, pointed to himself, also confused. Seeing this, Moyu reminded, just tell Teacher Iruka what Teacher Mizuki told you. Oh. Iruka that Mizuki had instructed him to steal the Book of Seals. How is that possible? The shocked Iruka still looked a little disbelieving, because Mizuki had been a friend since childhood. Iruka-sensei, nothing is impossible. According to the time, Mr. Shuimu should be here soon, which is undoubtedly the best evidence. After the voice fell, Shiyu also explained everything to Naruto, so that the latter would be mentally prepared. When Moyu just finished explaining, there were a dozen sounds of breaking wind suddenly coming from the forest. Call out, call out, call out. Immediately afterwards, the three saw dozens of kunai shot towards them. Chapter 8 Budding. This moment. Shiyu, who had been on guard for a long time, led Naruto to the side in an instant, and Iruka stepped aside safely because he didn't have to protect the two of them. But also because of this, Iruka looked at Tokyo with admiration again, because even he didn't respond as promptly as Tokyo. Immediately after, more than a dozen kunai landed on the wooden house behind without any suspense, making a slight noise. Clang, clang, clang. This scene made Shuimu, who was squatting on the tree trunk, very surprised. Obviously, he did not expect that Shiyu, who had just graduated and obtained the genin qualification, would be able to escape his sneak attack. However, in his opinion, this should be a fluke of the latter. And the second thing that surprised him was why Shiyu appeared here. He didn't bother about it because he didn't understand. Because in his eyes, Shiyu is a non-threatening child. As soon as he thought about it, the corners of his mouth also showed a sharp arc. It seems that not only can I get the Book of Seals today, but I can also obliterate a genius monster, which can be regarded as killing two birds with one stone. Mizuki, do you know what you're talking about? Iruka shouted. Iruka, it looks like you've got to get rid of the troublemaker before doing these two things. There was no emotion in Mizuki's words, which made Iruka's heart extremely angry. While Iruka was stunned, Mizuki had already launched an attack on him, and his moves were extremely ruthless, and he wanted to take his life. Originally, the strength of the two was about the same, but Iruka was too nostalgic and avoided every attack. He just wanted to catch Mizuki alive and leave it to the three generations. Because of this, he was doomed to be defeated. Boom. When a sound came out, Shiyu and the two saw Iruka slam into a big tree, blood stains all over his body, and he had lost the ability to fight. Seeing this, Mizuki turned his attention to Naruto. Naruto, hurry up and give me the scroll. Hearing this, Iruka shouted with all his might. Naruto, that scroll is a dangerous thing sealed by the first generation, and it must not be given to him. Iruka-sensei, don't worry, I didn't see you handing the Book of Seals to that bad guy. After hearing Shiyu's previous explanation, Naruto already knew about Mizuki's conspiracy, and he felt quite unhappy when he knew that he was being used. Shuimu, who heard the words, was stunned for a moment, and then sneered. Naruto, it's useless for you to hold it, let me tell you the truth, 12 years ago. No, don't. Iruka clearly knew what Mizuki was going to say. What? Shouted hysterically. But Mizuki still told Naruto the truth of the 12 years in order to get the Book of Seals, effortlessly. The purpose was to let Naruto relax and take advantage of the opportunity. As Naruto's best friend Tokyo, In order to allow the latter and Iruka to clear the estrangement in their hearts, he did not stop it, but waited for Mizuki to finish speaking slowly. Anyway, Naruto will know about this sooner or later. Naruto learned that the Kyubi, Nine-Tails, demon fox, that plagued Konoha village was sealed in his body, and learned that this demon fox in his own body killed many people, including Iruka's parents, and also learned that the reason why you are hated by others. After Mizuki's words, he learned all the truth. That scroll is actually used to seal you. Cross Shuriken, directly at Naruto. Iruka saw this, he rushed over without hesitation. Just as the high-speed rotating, cross shuriken, was about to hit Iruka, a metal collision sounded. Kang. Immediately, the cross shuriken was bounced away, and with a kai sound, it was directly inserted into the tree next to it. How is this possible? This scene made Shuimu extremely shocked. He never thought that Shiyu would be able to resolve this blow with Kuu in his hand, until he saw the yuhi-colored eyes on Shiyu's face. Because of this, let him fall into a deep shock. He really can't understand why Takagawa Tokiha has the evil eye that can only be opened by the Uchiha family. There is another person who shares the same astonishment as him, and that is the 3 generations of Hokage who are peeping here, Sarutobi Hiruzen. Looking at the figure reflected in the crystal ball, the corners of his wrinkled mouth moved, and then he spat out 3 words. Writing, wheel, I. While Mizuki was stunned, Tokiyu, who was standing in front of Iruka and Naruto, said, Iruka-sensei, you have a good rest, then leave it to me and Naruto. You and Naruto, Iruka worried. Iruka-sensei, don't worry. Yu turned his head between the words and gave Iruka a reassuring smile, but it was this turning of his head that surprised Iruka. Needless to say, he also saw Shiyu's yuhi-colored pupils. This is what Moyu did deliberately, foreshadowing the class division after 3 days. Chapter 9 Multiple Shadow Clone Technique. Shiyu's gaze shifted to Naruto and said, Naruto, why are you still lying on the ground? Now it's our turn to protect Iruka-sensei. Hearing this, Naruto looked at Iruka who was protecting him in front of him. His eyes became firmer, he immediately stood up from the ground, and without saying a word, he made a shadow clone gesture. Immediately after, Naruto performed the forbidden technique, multiple shadow clone technique, in Book of Seals, under the astonished eyes of Iruka and others. Bang! As a slight sound came out, this part of the forest was filled with Naruto's shadow, and there were thousands of them. This scene suddenly looked at everyone. Even Shiyu is no exception, because this is the first time he has seen so many entities shadow clone. How could? Looking at the figure of Naruto all around, Mizuki couldn't calm down. I thought that even if Shiyu had such evil eyes as Sharingan, he should have the power to fight. After all, Shiyu has just graduated, and the latter's abilities in all aspects are limited without training. He still has a high chance of winning, and even if he loses, escaping with his Chunin's strength is definitely not a problem. But the current scene has cut off his hope. After the battle with Iruka, most of his chakras have been consumed, and now with the thousands of shadow clone who have entities, he has no chance of winning. And when Mizuki was extremely frightened, Shiyu's voice sounded again. Teacher Mizuki, have you ever experienced despair? Looking at Mizuki with a confused face in front of him, Tokiyu stopped talking nonsense, recalled the key to the multiple shadow clone technique, in Book of Seals, and flashed the image of hand seal when Naruto was practicing earlier. Immediately afterwards, a low drink came from his mouth. Multiple shadow clone technique. Bang! Sound. There were 1,000 people around again, but this time it was not Naruto, but Tokiyu. Tokiyu's chakra has been increased by 100 times, and with the backing of Ikkyu Shukaku's chakra in his body, shadow clone is not a problem for him at all. Seeing this scene, Iruka and the others were stunned, and couldn't help but say a word in their hearts. When did forbidden technique become so worthless? Shiyu can cast multiple shadow clone, after all, the latter has the legendary Sharingan, which can replicate ninjutsu. But multiple shadow clone is a forbidden technique. Not everyone can perform it. If there is not enough chakra in the body, the result of forcible application is very likely to die directly. Naruto's shock was different from them, because he still didn't know the disadvantages of this ninjutsu. He was shocked that Shiyu had never practiced this ninjutsu at all. How did he become a master? No way, he doesn't know Sharingan yet. Seeing Naruto stunned in place, Shiyu also reminded aloud, Naruto, don't stand still, fuck him. Well. Immediately afterwards, under the command of Tokyo and Naruto, 2,000 shadow clones directly annihilated Mizuki in an overwhelming force. After a continuous wailing, Mizuki has been beaten beyond recognition by Shiyu's 2,000 shadow clones, and he can't die any longer. Originally, Shiyu could have kept him alive, but the system wanted him to die. Besides, if he died, Moyu would be able to explain everything. Otherwise, once the 3 generations asked him how he knew about Mizuki's conspiracy, he would really not be able to lie. As Shuimu died, the sound of the system also sounded slowly. Ding! The killing of Mizuki has been completed. After hearing the sound of the system, Shiyu was also overjoyed. He finally completed the first task of unlocking the second reward. Then, the next goal is to don't cut the peach land again. With Mizuki's defeat, Iruka finally came back to his senses in shock. Looking at Toshiyu and Naruto in front of him, his expression was a little dull. Especially when looking at Shiyu, he seemed to know the latter for the first time. No way, Shiyu's performance today makes it difficult to associate him with the self-serving deity that he used to be. But now that the facts are in front of me, Iruka can only believe it. Immediately after Iruka and Tokyo, Naruto gradually came out of the confused mood just now, and Iruka completely untied the knot in his heart. As for Mizuki's death, Iruka also saw it. Although the latter was his friend, after he wanted to kill him just now, this relationship also broke down. Finally, Iruka gave Naruto the ninja forehead with a blessing. Congratulations, graduating. Naruto, congratulations, Shiyu echoed. So far, his plan has been successfully completed. Mizuki was arrested, Naruto successfully graduated, and he also read the Book of Seals over and over again, which can be said to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. To celebrate, I invite you to go ramen. Teacher, you'd better recover from the injury first, Shiyu said. I just ran out of chakra, these are flesh wounds that don't get in the way. At Iruka's insistence, the 3 also headed towards Ichiraku Ramen Restaurant. As for the tragedy here, someone will clean up. Konoha Hidden Village, in Hokage's office. 3rd generation of Hokage looked at the crystal ball on the table and the backs of Shiyu and the 3 of them gradually receding, with a bright smile on his face. Immediately, his eyes fell on Shiyu, and he muttered to himself. I don't know what is the relationship between this son and the Uchiha family. Because there are only 2 ways to have Sharingan. First, by transplantation, such as Kakashi, Danzo, etc. Second, by opening the bloodline, you also have the bloodline of the Uchiha family. There is an obvious difference between these 2 methods, that is, the former can't be closed by getting Sharingan, which is why Kakashi and Danzo have to cover their eyes. However, Shiyu's Sharingan can be switched on and off freely, so the 3rd generation naturally classifies it as the 2nd type. Why he thought that Shiyu and the Uchiha clan must be inextricably linked, but even if the 3 generations wanted to break their heads, they would definitely. I can't think of the reason why Shiyu has open black lens bracket Sharingan close black lens bracket. P.S. The old irons with flowers and comments can support a wave, thank you. Chapter 10 Konoha Maru. The next day. Shiyu and Naruto better go to the ninja building to enter information together, which is the so-called ninja registration sheet. After that, the third generation summoned Shiyu. First of all, he was very curious about why Shiyu was able to turn on Sharingan, and second, he wanted to know how Shiyu found out about Mizuki's conspiracy. For Sharingan, Shiyu explained, maybe my ancestors married people from the Uchiha family. This explanation is very reasonable. After all, the phenomenon of atavism is not unheard of. Then how did you know about Mizuki's conspiracy? Sandai continued to ask. It's very simple, because Mizuki also looked for me, but was rejected by me, so he found Naruto, who is simple-minded. Naruto and Iruka last night, because now that Mizuki is dead, what Shiyu said was right. That's dead proof. After some conversation, the third generation gave Shiyu a 4-word evaluation. You are excellent. Grandpa Hokage, I'm flattered by your compliment. Shiyu's polite words just fell. Boom, someone suddenly broke into the door, followed by a loud shout. Grandpa, let's have a showdown. Hearing this voice, Shiyu already knew who was coming. There is no doubt that it must be the same funny boy as Naruto, the grandson of the 3 generations of Hokage, Sarutobi Konohamaru. However, Konohamaru was unsteady and fell directly to the ground, and there was a wailing sound. Ah, it hurts me. Immediately afterwards, Konohamaru's tutor, Ebisu, also appeared in Takiwa's field of vision. Shiyu doesn't have much affection for this person. And he wasn't interested in Konohamaru, the little brat, so he said goodbye directly to the third generation. Grandpa Hokage, if I have nothing to do, I will take my leave. Good. Seeing the 3 generations nodding, Shiyu turned around and left. Konohamaru stood up. Seeing Tokyo, she couldn't help but ask curiously, Grandpa, who is that person? Before the 3 generations could reply, Ebisu on the side said, with a tone of praise for Shiyu. Master Son, he is the genius boy who gathered 53 clones in this ninja school, Takagawa Tokyo. A genius boy. Konohamaru was shocked and thought to himself, Grandpa summoned him alone, did he want to train him to be a new generation of Hokage? No, I can't let this happen, the Hokage is mine. After a short period of imagination, Konohamaru immediately said to the third generation, Grandpa, our competition is temporarily postponed. Voice fell, and Konohamaru left in the direction of Nayu's departure, and in the blink of an eye, he disappeared without a trace. After saying goodbye to the third generation, Moyu joined Naruto, who was waiting outside. They agreed to eat ramen again, and this time it was Naruto's treat. From the latter's point of view, without Moyu, he would obviously not have passed the graduation examination. In this regard, Shiyu naturally did not refuse. However, just as they left, a follower came on their backs. Without a doubt, he is Konoha. Pill. Shiyu didn't know why this little brat wanted to keep up with the two of them. He didn't beat him before. Logically, he wouldn't worship him because of it. However, fate is always so strange, as if it was destined to happen. Little devil, why are you sneaking around with us? I'm not following you. You brat is still talking nonsense with your eyes open. Believe it or not, I'll beat you up. Hehe, I'm the grandson of the third generation of Hokage, you dare to hit me and try. Konohamaru said confidently. I don't manage this, idiot. Konohamaru directly on the forehead, which revealed the reason. It turned out that he followed Tokyo and the two to challenge Tokyo and make the latter retreat. However, he was directly ravaged by Shiyu, but Konohamaru, who had a bruised nose and a swollen face, not only did not hold a grudge against Shiyu, but instead recognized Shiyu as the boss. This made Shiyu a little surprised, so he handed the mess to Naruto, and Naruto became the second child. After eating ramen, the 3 of them gradually got to know each other. Immediately after Naruto showed off his art of seduction, also called art of the harem, Konohamaru was very interested, and Naruto was also very happy to start teaching, which made Shiyu full. Bless your eyes. The old Sebi Ebisu who came to look for Konohamaru, he couldn't stand Naruto's combination of multiple shadow clone technique and seduction technique. If Tokyo hadn't been in the public eye, he would have already resisted. It's probably hard to resist. This day is destined to be spent with laughter. 2 days passed in a blink of an eye, the morning of the third day. Shiyu and Naruto came to the class one after another. Today is the day of the graduation briefing. Needless to say, it's time to start grouping today. When Shikamaru, Kiba and the others saw Shiyu, their eyes were different from what they used to be, and there was no disdain in the past, and some girls had already begun to secretly adore Shiyu. And when they saw that Naruto also appeared here, they couldn't help but be stunned. Naruto, why is he here? Yeah, doesn't it mean that only those who pass the graduation exam are eligible to participate in this briefing? Hearing the words, Naruto said proudly, I will appear here, of course, because I also passed the graduation exam. Look. In the middle of the conversation, Naruto pointed to the ninja forehead on his forehead. Seeing that there were only 2 vacancies next to Sasuke, Tokyo and Naruto sat directly next to the latter. For Naruto, Sasuke is not too cold, but Tokyo is different. Sasuke's scores in other subjects are all among the best, basically ranking first. I thought he would graduate with the first grade in all subjects this year. But he never imagined that a monster like Shiyu would emerge on top of the final graduation assessment, and forcibly took the first place in the clone technique subject. At this moment, Sakura's voice suddenly rang in the ears of Takiwa and the others. Naruto. Get out of the way and give me your place. Chapter 11 All-Inclusive 7th Group. Because Naruto likes Sakura, so what's he doing for a while? Although this was not said to Shiyu, it made him very upset, because Naruto was his best friend. There are so many places here, why do you have to make room for Naruto? Shiyu glanced at Sakura in the middle of the words, and Sakura was stunned for a moment when he looked at him with sharp eyes, and a horrified color suddenly rose in his heart. If Shiyu was still at the back of the crane, Sakura would definitely refute it, but now the former has been reborn, how could she, a little girl who is ignorant of the world, receive Shiyu's hawk-like gaze? When she was overwhelmed, Uruka's voice interrupted her embarrassment. Everyone is ready, the instructions are about to start. Hearing this, Sakura could only find a place to sit down, but she kept her eyes fixed on Tokyo, obviously resenting him. Naruto, who saw this scene, gave Tokyo a big thumbs up and said, "You can actually drop Sakura. Some girls have to be hard." Is that so? Naruto muttered to himself, hey, I'll try it when I get a chance. If Naruto really did this, his fate was already doomed. Because his nemesis in the first half of his life is Sakura, don't ask me why, ask Kishimoto. At this time, Uruka is talking about some necessary knowledge to become a ninja, and the life they will face next. From now on, you will be your own ninjas. However, you are still newcomers to Genin. The real test is yet to come. The village will assign you tasks in the future, and you will follow the instructions of the delegated teacher Jonin in groups of 3. Under his leadership, complete the tasks assigned by the village. When they heard that they were going to be divided into groups of 3, all of them secretly figured out, hoping to be in a group with whom. For example, most girls want to team up with Sasuke, Naruto wants to team up with Sakura, and Hinata wants to team up with Naruto. Among the expectations of everyone, Uruka also announced. In order to balance the strength of each group, I have divided you into groups, the first group, the second group, the 7th group, Takagawa Tokiha, Uzumaki Naruto, and Uchiha Sasuke. Just as Uruka's voice fell, Naruto and Sakura were instantly unhappy. What Sakura lost was that he couldn't be in a group with Sasuke. Naruto was not happy that he couldn't be in a group with Sakura. At least he still has his best friend Tokiha for company, but Sasuke and him are rivals in love. Among these students, there is still one person who is a little lost, that is Hinata, but he did not show it. She buried her inner thoughts deeply. Naruto, this impatient, can't hide anything at all. Iruka-sensei, why is such an outstanding student like me in a group with Sasuke? You're too embarrassed to say that Sasuke has the best grades in all subjects except for the clone technique subject among all graduates. And you are the last. I made this decision to balance the strength of each group. Even though Iruka said that, the candidates for this group have already been fixed. The 3 generations know that Shiyu and Naruto are friends, and they can enlighten Naruto very well, and even help the latter improve his strength. Sarutobi Hiruzen once promised the 4th generation Namikaze Minato to take good care of Naruto, but because Naruto's identity cannot be exposed, coupled with the Kyuubi, Nine-Tails demon fox, in his body, the latter has almost no childhood to speak of. Now, that's all he can do. As for why Tokyo and Sasuke are separated, it is because both have Sharingan and can exchange inspiration with each other. Moreover, their mentor has also been predetermined, and with him, they can better teach them how to use Blood Wheel Eye. There is no doubt that this person is Hitaki Kakashi, known as the Copy Ninja, also known as Kadian and Hitaki 55. Furthermore, the 3rd generation also hopes that Tokyo and Sasuke can become friends, and Tokyo can help the latter get out of the shadow of the genocide massacre that year. Since Shiyu's scores in other subjects are also at the bottom, but because of the sky-defying subject of separation technique, his average score is below average. It is also for this reason that no one will gossip about such an allocation. So far, the 7th group is all boys of the same color. If there are no accidents, it is estimated that the days after this will be full of love. As for Sakura, she can only be randomly assigned to a group. She can only sacrifice her for the great cause of radiant love, and she will become the apprentice of open black lens bracket Tsunade close black lens bracket in the future. Okay, next to announce the 8th group, Hyuga Hinata, Aburame Shino, and Inazuka Kiba. The 9th group. Team 10, Nara Shikamaru, Yamanaka Ino and Akamichi Choji. Quote. After grouping all the students, Iruka also coughed lightly, adjusted her tone, and continued. I'll introduce your respective Jonin mentors to everyone in the afternoon, and disband now. Half a day is like a white horse passing by in the blink of an eye. At this time, Tokyo, Naruto, and Sasuke were already waiting in the class. Naruto and Sasuke didn't know who their mentor was, but Tokyo already knew it. Naruto, how about we make a bet? Bet what? If I can guess who the mentor of our 7th group is, you'll treat me to a ramen meal. If I can't, then I'll invite you. How? Naruto heard such a good thing, and naturally he would not miss it. Really? That's natural. I, Takagawa Tokyo, have always kept my word. Okay, I'll bet with you. Naruto between the words, his inner thoughts at this time are, Shiyu, this idiot, I will win this time, ha ha ha. Chapter 12 Hitaki Kakashi. Come on, guess who? Hearing this, Shiyu pretended to be thinking, rubbed his chin, and then said, my intuition tells me that our mentor should be Hitaki Kakashi, known as the Copy Ninja. Copy Ninja? Naruto murmured, apparently still not knowing what the name represented. They've just graduated now, so it's understandable not to know this information, just like Sasuke now doesn't know that Kakashi has Sharingan. Shiyu, you can't go back if you say it. Of course. Okay, let's wait for the result now. Seeing Tashiyu and Naruto talking and laughing, Sasuke almost couldn't help but get involved, but in the end he was killed by the obsession in his heart. After a short wait for the 3 of them, Kakashi finally appeared. And Naruto's blackboard eraser on the door smashed on his head without any suspense. This scene made Naruto, the troublemaker, laugh out loud. Ha ha ha. I'm hit. Seeing this, Kakashi was stunned for a while, but he didn't seem to rise at all, and muttered to himself. How can I say it? Your first impression of me is nasty. Hearing this, Naruto looked depressed for a short time, but immediately recovered in the next second. Teacher, is your name Hatake Kakashi? Ah. Kakashi, who heard the words, was also stunned. He didn't expect Naruto to guess his identity at once. Could it be that Iruka told him? Kakashi couldn't help but think so. How did you know that? As Kakashi spit out these words, everyone looked at Shiyu with an unbelievable look on their faces. Fuck, Shiyu, you've been fooled by you. To Naruto's astonishment, Shiyu also continued to pretend, what is Meng, I'm obviously a prophet. Seeing Tokiyu and the three of them like this, Kakashi was also confused and didn't know what happened at all. It wasn't until Naruto told the matter that he suddenly realized, looking at Shiyu, a word flashed in his heart. Is it really a coincidence? However, he did not take such trivial matters to heart, because such things could be known in advance. After all, it's not an undetectable secret. However, one thing that shocked him was that the three generations told him that Shiyu had Sharingan, which was obviously not what he expected. Immediately after, Kakashi glanced at Tokiyu and the three of them, and then said, since you all know my identity, let me introduce myself first. My name is open black lens bracket Hatake Kakashi close black lens bracket, what I like. Keep secret for now. My dream. It doesn't seem to be anything. As for interest, it's quite a lot. Well, it's your turn now. Kakashi open. After the head, the three Shiyu introduced themselves one after another, so that they had a certain understanding of each other. As for what Kakashi likes, others don't know, but Toshiyu, who is a transmigrator, knows it all too well. That thing is a book called Intimacy Paradise. This book is a banned book not suitable for children. It was published when open black lens bracket Jiraiya close black lens bracket was 42 years old. Jiraiya gave Kakashi, Intimacy Paradise, as a birthday present on Kakashi's 18th birthday. When Jiraiya was 50 years old because Intimacy Paradise sold so well, he published a sequel to Intimacy Paradise, Intimacy Violence. And now 26-year-old Kakashi is still a loyal reader, and the Intimacy series is a favorite of men and Kakashi's favorite at the same time. After the introduction of the three people, Kaka also said, I already have a general understanding of your situation. Let's go here today and start the task from tomorrow. Mission. What mission? Naruto jumped up first. Although Sasuke seems to be calm, he is also looking forward to it, because only by constantly dispatching missions can he continue to become stronger. Only Shiyu is as stable as Mount High. Because he knows what tomorrow's task is. Moreover, he has already thought of a countermeasure. Survival drill. It was a word that came out of Kakashi's mouth, making Naruto very confused. Survival drill. Is it the drill we used to do at the ninja school? This is not an ordinary exercise, I will be your opponent. Kakashi replied to Naruto, and then continued, let me tell you the truth, the purpose of this acting is to test whether you are qualified to be genin. Those who fail will be sent back to school for training again. Finally, let me remind you that this test is extremely difficult, and the elimination rate is as high as 60%. Hearing Kakashi's words, Naruto was stunned. At this moment, he had the urge to beat people. What are you doing? I finally graduated from the ninja school. What qualifications are needed now, so why do I need to take the graduation exam? That's just the first level to become genin, that's all. Kakashi answered Naruto's question again, then looked at Tokiha and the others, and the lazy voice sounded again. Okay, go back and get ready, we'll see you at the drill tomorrow, and then I'll make a judgment on whether you're qualified or not. By the way, don't forget to bring ninja tools. Reminder, you'd better not eat breakfast, or you may vomit. The words fell, Kakashi disappeared from the sight of the three, while Naruto fell into distress. Obviously, he was worried that he would not be able to pass the examination tomorrow. At this moment, Shiyu patted his shoulder and said, don't worry, I already know how to pass the test. As soon as these words came out, Naruto and Sasuke were shocked. Chapter 13 Survival Drill. Shiyu, what is the method? Naruto asked curiously, and Sasuke on the side also pricked up his ears and was quite interested in this. Because he must pass this test and become a real ninja. Only in this way can he become stronger. If he couldn't even pass the Genin test, he wouldn't be qualified to stand in front of Itachi. Hey, this thing doesn't work when you say it, and you will know it in the assessment tomorrow. Come on, we have to go get something ready now. When the words fell, Shiyu looked at Sasuke and asked, Sasuke, do you want to join us? Sasuke, who heard the words, was stunned. Although he was very curious, this emotion was still forcibly suppressed. I will pass the test with my own strength. If that's the case, then see you at the drill tomorrow. Returning to Sasuke, Tokyo looked at Naruto. Naruto, let's go. Googla. Immediately afterwards, the two of Tokyo gradually moved away under Sasuke's gaze. Looking at the disappearing backs of the two, a heartstring in Sasuke's heart was also touched. Maybe it was the emotion that the boy should have, but it was buried in his heart. The next morning, Sasuke and Naruto arrived at the training ground early in the morning and waited, but Tokyo was nowhere to be seen. They all thought Tokyo had overslept. Naruto was also quite worried because of this, and he wanted to call the latter. And just after he raised this thought, Shiyu finally appeared. But what makes Naruto puzzled is that Shiyu still holds a book in his hand. In Naruto's memory, the latter doesn't seem to like reading books. How can I hold a book today, and it is such an important occasion? Naruto, the idiot, obviously couldn't understand it for a while. As for Sasuke, who didn't know Shiyu, he didn't know. At most, he was just surprised. And this book was not prepared to pass the test, but to win the bell in Kakashi's hand, because the method of passing the test was already known to Akatsuki. Shiyu, you can count. Is there a problem? Don't you know you're an hour late? Fortunately, Kakashi-sensei hasn't arrived yet, Naruto said with a sigh of relief. Don't worry, I've figured out that he'll be late. As soon as Shiyu said this, Naruto and Sasuke were stunned, their eyes filled with doubts. Shiyu, do you really have the ability to predict the future? No wonder Naruto asked this question, because yesterday's bet he lost inexplicably. A bowl of Ichiraku ramen made his life even worse. That's because I did my homework ahead of time. Homework? Naruto stunned and continued, what homework? Of course it's about Kakashi-sensei. From the information I collected, I found that he would be late for every assessment, and the time was still fixed, 1 hour. Hearing Moyu's words, Naruto and Sasuke suddenly realized that it would be incredible to say that Shiyu really has the unpredictable ability. In the ninja world, there seems to be no one other than the immortal Gamamaru of Mount Myoboku who possesses this ability. Moreover, the latter can only be predicted roughly. Not only that, but I also discovered a terrible secret. How terrible? Seeing Naruto's look of anticipation, Shiyu also said, I unexpectedly discovered that none of the students who were assessed in the hands of teacher Kakashi have yet passed. What? At this time, Naruto and Sasuke were both shocked. They thought that this assessment might be severe, but they did not expect it to be so difficult. After some confusion, Naruto was also worried. Shiyu, do you think we can pass the test? Hey, don't worry if I'm with you. Not long after Shiyu's words fell, a voice sounded from behind him. Yo, looks like it's all here. Kakashi who just arrived. The three Shiyu who heard the words all looked at the latter, while Naruto complained. Kakashi-sensei, you're late. Actually, this is also part of the assessment, and it is intended to exercise your patience. Kakashi made an excuse for himself, but it was because he watched Intimacy Paradise too late last night. His chakra is less, in addition to part of the reason to maintain Sharingan, maybe part of it is spent on other things. After all, he has now seen the middle volume of Intimacy Paradise. Immediately after, Kakashi took out an alarm clock from his backpack, set the time to 12 noon, and placed it on a tree stump beside it. Then he took out a bunch of bells, and said to the three of Shiyu, "I have 2 bells here, and it is your job to take them from me before 12 noon. As long as you grab one, you are qualified. If you don't get the bell at the specified time, you won't be eligible for lunch, and you'll be tied to a stake to watch me eat a bento." At this moment, Naruto and Sasuke finally understood why Kakashi had given a warm reminder when he was leaving yesterday. At this moment, an untimely voice sounded. Hiccup. Undoubtedly, it was the sound of hiccups, and that's why Kakashi's eyes fell on Tokyo at this time. Seeing this, Shiyu smiled naively and said immediately, "Sorry, I ate a bit too much in the morning." As soon as these words came out, both Naruto and Sasuke wanted to cry, regretting why they had to listen to Kakashi's words. The most stunned person was Kakashi. He brought so many students, and every time he was very obedient. It is also because of this that they cannot pass the assessment. But now, Shiyu, an outlier, appeared, which made him interested in the former. Chapter 14 Exam starts. After the atmosphere was silent for a while, Naruto also asked, "Kakashi-sensei, there are 3 of us, why are there only 2 bells?" The answer is simple. It means that at least one of you will be eliminated due to the failure of the mission, and finally be sent to the ninja school for training again until you can pass the final assessment. So, if you don't want to be eliminated, try your best to grab the bell in my hand. Of course, it doesn't matter if you use a shuriken. The reason why Kakashi set up such an assessment is obviously related to what happened to him when he was young. He wants a team to unite and help each other, and even disobey orders when necessary, so that some unnecessary sacrifices can be avoided. But, would that be too dangerous? Naruto worried. Ninja's mission is not dangerous. If you want to become a qualified ninja, you must have the consciousness of death. Since you said so, then I'm welcome. Naruto, who had finished speaking, looked at Shiyu and said, "Shiyu, we have 2 bells each. As for Sasuke, we don't need to worry about him. How can he be a member of our group now? How can we abandon him?" But, there are only 2 bells. As the saying goes, there must be a road in front of the road, and the boat will naturally go straight to the bridge. Let's work together to grab the bell first and then distribute it, how about it? Shiyu's remarks also surprised Kakashi, because this was the first time he saw a student who had to choose teamwork even though he knew there were only 2 places to advance. That's why he couldn't help but glance at Shiyu. "Well, I'll listen to you." Naruto's answer was expected, so he looked at Sasuke. The latter hesitated for a while, then Tsunere said, "You 2 will only hold me back, I am enough by myself." It is understandable that Sasuke has such self-confidence, because his current strength has basically surpassed some genins, and his strength is infinitely close to the level of Chunin. Of course, in Konoha, genin is the invincible existence. This is a stock, don't spray if you don't like it. That's up to you. Shiyu said, and then said to Naruto, "Let's go." Go there. Naruto in the conversation was very puzzled. Why did he leave when Kakashi and Bell were right in front of him? Do you think with your strength you can get the bell in a head-to-head battle with Jonin? No way, although Shiyu now has Sharingan, his talent and chakra have been increased by 100 times, but after all, the time is still too short. Wanting to take the bell from Kakashi head-on is very small, so he wants to surprise, and he wants to end the legend that no one can take the bell from Kakashi. However, Shiyu underestimated Naruto's personality. How do you know if you don't try it? The voice of Naruto fell. Regardless of the 3721, he took out the hardship and did it, and directly rushed towards Kakashi. The final result can be imagined. Naruto was directly captured by Kakashi effortlessly. "Naruto, you are too anxious, I haven't said start yet." Hearing Kaka's words, and looking at Naruto's embarrassed look, Shiyu said, "Believe it now." Kakashi let go of Naruto and immediately announced, "Okay, now the assessment officially begins." Naruto, who had suffered a loss, had no impulse this time, and followed Shiyu honestly. Shiyu brought Naruto to the bottom of a big tree, and immediately said, "Let's take a break. Rest." Naruto stunned, then said, "Shiyu, did you make a mistake? We only have 3 hours, you still have the heart to rest here." "I can't eat hot tofu in a hurry, it's useless to be reckless." In desperation, Naruto really sat under the big tree with Shiyu to enjoy the shade, while the latter took out a book with an orange cover. It reads, "The first volume of The Legend of the Golden Lotus in Intimacy Heaven." The story is about Examen Ching, Pan Jinlian and Wu Delang. This book was made by Shiyu overnight in order to attract Kakashi. Immediately afterwards, Shiyu told Naruto about his plan. After listening to it, Naruto also said, "I was just wondering why you brought a book with you. It turns out that you have already figured out how to deal with it." "It's just that Kakashi-sensei is Jonin, will he be fooled?" "Hey, don't worry about this." Shiyu in the conversation looked confident, and Naruto also held the mentality of giving it a try when he saw it. Maybe it really happened. At this time, Sasuke was hiding in the grass, ready to wait for an opportunity to attack Kakashi. Obviously, he also knew that getting the bell from Kakashi's hands in a head-to-head match was no easy task. And when he saw Tokiyu and Naruto lying under the shade of a tree to enjoy the shade, he immediately became confused. He thought that Kakashi's hand had frightened them, so did the two choose to give up. Not only Sasuke, but also Kakashi was stunned. And when he saw the Golden Lotus Biography of Intimacy in Heaven in Shiyu's hand, his eyes suddenly became fine, and he muttered to himself, "Is that the Intimacy Paradise rumor? Jinlian, this name sounds very interesting. Jiraiya is too boring. I didn't notify me immediately after the rumor came out." Kakashi looked at the book in Moyu's hand, and already had the urge to grab it and take a look. "No, I mustn't let them know my hobby. But I really want to watch it, alas, it's so tangled." Just when Kakashi was in this mood, Sasuke, who was hiding on the side, also saw the opportunity and caught the only flaw. Great opportunity. There was a low drink from his mouth, and Sasuke didn't talk nonsense, and instantly threw a dozen kunai. Chapter 15 Body Art Profound Truth, Millennium Kill. Clang, clang, clang. Surprisingly, more than a dozen kunai hit Kakashi, and Naruto, who saw this scene, shouted, "Fuck, Kakashi-sensei won't be finished, right? Don't worry, Kakashi, as the elite among Jonin, can't be killed so easily." Sure enough, as soon as Shiyu's voice fell, the Kakashi with more than a dozen kunai stuck in his body suddenly turned into a piece of wood. Sasuke muttered unwillingly upon seeing this. "Damn avatars." Immediately, his eyes instantly alerted the surroundings. Unfortunately, he couldn't turn on Sharingan at will, and he couldn't quickly detect Kakashi's whereabouts. The Uchiha family was wiped out. He saw his parents die at the hands of his brother Itachi, and in desperation, he started Sharingan. At that time both eyes were single tomo. But it was only for a short time, and he didn't even notice it himself. Therefore, until now Sasuke has not been able to master the trick of opening Sharingan. As a genius of the Uchiha clan, and a leader of the younger generation in the village, I am looking forward to your performance. Kakashi, who had finished speaking, took the initiative to appear, with an orange book in his hand. That's right, it's Intimacy Paradise. Seeing Shiyu watching The Legend of the Golden Lotus in Intimacy Paradise just now made him a little bit unbearable, so he took out the small notebook he carried with him. "I'll show you." Sasuke, who had finished speaking, attacked again, only to see his arms wave continuously, and wave after wave of kunai shot out. In the end, he himself followed. Kakashi resolved several waves of kunai's offensive. He was already approached by Sasuke. From this, it can be seen that Sasuke's current fighting ability is indeed much stronger than Naruto. Nothing wrong with that. Sasuke's physical skills are also quite good. He is worthy of being the first person in the ninja school. Whether it is straight punches, uppercuts, or roundhouse kicks, he is different from ordinary people. With such strength at this age, it is truly a genius. In this confrontation, because of Kakashi's carelessness, Sasuke touched the bell on his waist, which surprised Kakashi. Although he has released water, among the students he has assessed for so many sessions, only Sasuke in front of him has achieved this. This kid, isn't it bad? It seems that I can't be distracted from watching Intimacy Paradise, otherwise, there is a real possibility of being taken advantage of. If that's the case, Kakashi will obviously feel that he can't hold his own face. A Jonin has something taken from his hand by a genin, and it's not good to hear it. At this point, Kakashi finally put away Intimacy Paradise. Because I'm not like them. Sasuke, who had finished speaking, directly displayed his strongest move, Kaden Fire Style Grand Fireball Technique. After a quick hand seal, a mouthful of flames was also spit out from Sasuke's mouth. PFF'd. Kakashi was directly annihilated. Naruto in the shade of the tree watching this scene was extremely envious. He did not expect that Sasuke had already mastered such advanced combat ninjutsu. Open black lens bracket Kaden Fire Style Grand Fireball Jutsu close black lens bracket. It can be said that it is the exclusive ninjutsu of the Uchiha clan, and most of the Uchiha clan will use it. The only difference is the strength of the weak. While Naruto was amazed, Tokyo had quietly written down the hand seal method of this ninjutsu, which was also thanks to his possession of the 3 Tomo blood wheel eyes. Although 100 times the talent can barely remember it, it is impossible to quickly master. Through the system's panel information function, Shiyu knew that he had 3 types of chakra attributes: water, fire, and yang. After obtaining the chakra of one-tailed Shukaku, Tokyo added 2 more attribute chakras, namely wind and earth chakra. In other words, Shiyu now has 5 chakras with 5 attributes: wind, earth, water, fire, and yang. Of course, since Shiyu has obtained the power of Shukaku, naturally he has also mastered some abilities of Shukaku, such as Futon wind style ninjutsu, sealing, and the extremely rare blood stain boundary. Shukaku's blood stain limit is a combination of the nature transformation of 2 chakras of wind and earth, called Jiden magnet style. This is also the reason why Shiyu was so shocked by the system's rewards that day. It can only be said that this god-level reward system is too awesome. It's a pity that with Shiyu's current talent, he can't combine the different attributes of chakra nature transformation to create a blood stain boundary that is stronger than the single shield technique. A fusion of 2 chakra nature transformations, or some special powers passed down through blood, such as Byakugan, Sharingan, etc. Therefore, Shiyu can only look forward to the second reward. There are 7 types of chakras. In addition to the 5 common chakras of fire, water, earth, wind, and thunder, there are also 2 types of chakras, yin and yang. The yin attribute represents spiritual ninjutsu, such as open black lens bracket Tsukuyomi close black lens bracket, open black lens bracket Kotoamatsukami close black lens bracket, open black lens bracket mind turning technique close black lens bracket, and so on. The yang attribute represents the ninjutsu of the body, such as healing technique, doubling technique, and so on. Just now, Tokyo used Sharingan to copy Sasuke's Kaden Fire Style Grand Fireball technique. After the flames dissipated, Sasuke was shocked to see that there was no Kakashi in the burning place, which shocked him. What about people? Between the words, he also began to look left and right, looking forward and backward, behind. Not above. Not at all. Where is he? Just as Sasuke's words fell, Kakashi's voice finally appeared. Look there, I'm under you. Sasuke, who heard the words, looked at it, but he saw a big hand sticking out from the ground, accompanied by a voice. Doden, Earth-style, decapitation in the heart. Without the slightest surprise, Sasuke's entire body was directly pulled into the soil by Kakashi, leaving only one head exposed. This is one of the ninja's fighting experience, ninjutsu. However, it seems to me that your edge will soon show. Seeing that Sasuke was defeated, Shiryu was not surprised at all, which was completely within his expectations, and he still looked at the Golden Lotus biography of Intimacy Paradise, written by himself in his hand. And the impatient Naruto couldn't help it, because he saw Kakashi's flaws. While Kakashi was lecturing Sasuke, he instantly rushed behind the former, and he was about to catch the bell. But Kakashi's figure suddenly disappeared from Naruto's field of vision, which made the latter look stunned. Huh, what about people? But when Kakashi appeared, Shiryu knew that this tragedy was doomed to be unavoidable, and couldn't help covering his eyes with a book. Because Kakashi appeared behind Naruto at this time, the seal of his hands had been formed, and then a low voice came from his mouth. Konoha Ninja's Secret. Physique Profound Truth. Millennium Kill. P.S. Old irons who have flowers, evaluation tickets, and monthly tickets can send them, thank you. Thank you, Street Dog, for the reward. 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 Chapter 16 Hell Viewing Technique. No accident, Kakashi's Millennium Kill directly hit Naruto's garden flower, causing it to fall into the water. Naruto, who jumped onto the lake, was still covering his butt. Needless to say, it was definitely painful from being caught. Kakashi saw Naruto's disgusting appearance, and said, "This is the second ninja's fighting experience, taijutsu. At the same time, I also want to send you a word, the back of the ninja can never be handed over to the opponent, remember." "I know," Naruto said. Sasuke, who was buried in the ground, heard the conversation between the two, and he couldn't help but chatter. Two big super idiots. Naruto was naturally unwilling to be humiliated like this, so he used his strongest ninjutsu in an attempt to take revenge. Look at me, multiple shadow clone technique. Boom. As a cloud of smoke dissipated, 8 Naruto appeared in everyone's field of vision, which made Kakashi and Sasuke startled. 8 of them are Naruto, and they are all entities. What kind of ninjutsu is this? At this time, Sasuke was extremely shocked. He did not expect that Naruto, the tail of the crane, could have such advanced ninjutsu skills as master. Sasuke didn't know, but Kakashi, who was Jonin, couldn't possibly not know. Shadow clone. It's interesting. Immediately afterwards, when all 8 Naruto surrounded Kakashi, 7 of them had already locked Kakashi firmly. Seeing Naruto's body, without saying a word, he swiped a punch towards its facade. Bump. No accident, a punch hit the cheek, but the one who got hit was not Kakashi, but a shadow clone of Naruto. Needless to say, Kakashi managed to escape with the substitute technique again. And when Kakashi reappeared, he appeared behind Naruto, and his voice sounded. "Naruto, didn't I tell you just now, don't easily give your back to your opponent." Hearing this, Naruto was also frightened. He thought that Kakashi was going to use that Taiju Profound Truth, Millennium Kill again, so he quickly turned around in fright. Originally it was nothing if he didn't turn around, but this one turned right into Kakashi's arms. I saw that Kakashi's hands had already formed the seal at this time, and he was waiting for Naruto to turn around. In the next second, Naruto suddenly became in a trance, and the 7 clones disappeared instantly. This is open black lens bracket hell viewing technique close black lens bracket. When Shiryu saw this under the shade of the tree, he also saw this ninjutsu. Hell viewing technique, the scene that caused the opponent's fear in the current state by surprise is a kind of demonic illusion. For this demonic illusion, Moyu only wrote it down symbolically, because this demonic illusion is not very practical. Moreover, it is not easy to succeed. Premise is that people who have a certain fear in their hearts and are not strong in mind will be recruited. Year Kill is scary, and it is estimated that he will not be hit by this demonic illusion. Seeing Naruto falling into his demonic illusion, Kakashi's voice also slowly sounded. This is the third ninja battle experience, demonic illusion. The voice fell. Kakashi looked at Tokiha under the shade of the tree. Now that Sasuke is buried in the ground, Naruto has been hit by demonic illusion, and only the former has the ability to fight. Moreover, Shiyu is also the most calm person so far. Until now, Shiyu had no intention of grabbing the bell on his body at all, which made Kakashi very puzzled. He has assessed so many students, but he can't see through Shiyu. Shiyu, time is running out now, why don't you start? I don't have much hope. If Sasuke doesn't insist on going his own way, and if Naruto doesn't strive to win, there may be a chance for the three of us to join forces, but now. Shiyu's exclamation made Kakashi a little surprised, because what the former said was right. If the three of them joined forces, there was indeed a chance to grab the bell from him. In fact, if Tokiyu performed Jiden magnet style, he could have taken the bell from Kakashi by surprise. However, Shiyu didn't have this plan, because he had a way to grab the bell without much effort. You can see clearly, and your mind is far beyond the students of the same age. Shiyu, maybe your strength is not the strongest among the three of you, but you are undoubtedly the smartest among the three. In Kakashi's view, Sasuke's strength should be above Tokiha. Because before assessing the three of them, Kakashi had seen their grades in various subjects in the ninja school. Except for the blockbuster clone technique in the graduation examination, Shiyu's grades in other subjects were all ranked at the bottom. Thank you teacher for the praise. Tokiyu pretended to put away the book in his hand, and Kakashi, who saw this scene, couldn't help but asked. Shiyu, where did the book in your hand come from? Oh, you said this book. The conversation, Shiyu shook the book in his hand deliberately, and then said, this was lost by an uncle before I came to the exercise ground in the morning. Gone. So, I can only take it with me first. I was just curious about what book I was reading. When I opened it, I didn't expect. It turned out to be. In short, it was very attractive, so I was a little fascinated by what I read just now. Kakashi coughed lightly, and then said, Shiyu, you said that uncle has long white hair, behaves strangely, and has the word, oil, engraved on the forehead. Teacher, how did you know? After getting Shiyu's confirmation, Kasase also secretly thought, could it be that Jiraiya has returned from his travels? Chapter 17 Primary School Students Make Choices. After some speculation, Kakashi also decided that the so-called uncle of Shiyu should be Jiraiya. Shiyu, to tell you the truth, I know the uncle you mentioned. Well, you give me the book, and I will help you return it to the original owner. Really? Moyu pretended to question. That's natural. As Konoha Jonin, how can I deceive you as a little brat, and it's just a book, I have no reason to deceive you. Kakashi said righteously, but there was still a trace of doubt on Shiyu's face, and he added a sentence. If you don't believe me, I can take you to see him in a few days. If that's the case, then there is Mr. Kakashi. When the words fell, Shiyu also handed the book in his hand to Kakashi, and Kakashi was indeed the elite among Jonin, and he was still vigilant about Shiyu at this time. Apparently because Shiyu was too smart, he had to be more careful. If it really capsized in the gutter, it would be a big shame. Kakashi took the book from Tokiyu's hand and said with a smile, hands up, and rescued him from demonic illusion. From demonic illusion, and the whole person looked sluggish. Shiyu, what's wrong with me? You've hit demonic illusion. Shiyu replied to Naruto, and then said, okay, you have a good rest first, I will get Sasuke out and then I will talk to you in detail. Seeing Tokiyu walking towards Sasuke, more than 10 meters away from him, Kakashi relaxed his vigilance. It is also because of this that his eyes finally fell on the Golden Lotus biography of Intimacy in Heaven, in his hand, and his heart was full of expectations. But the moment he opened the book, a leaf fell out of it. Since Takiwa was watching from the shade of a tree before, Kakashi didn't pay attention to it for a while, but when the leaf fell to his waist, it suddenly changed into a figure. This scene immediately shocked Kakashi. Because this figure is none other than Shiyu. When he found out it was too late, because at this time the bell around his waist had been pulled by Shiyu. Clatter. He stepped, Shiyu stood firmly in front of Kakashi with the sound of a ding bell, smiling slightly at the latter. Kakashi-sensei, let's do it. It wasn't until Tokiyu's voice fell that Kakashi came back to his senses, and at the same time Kakashi understood that all this was a game planned by Tokiyu. Kakashi sighed helplessly, and then praised from the bottom of his heart. Quote, Shiyu, you are the first student to grab the bell from me. The recovered Naruto, and the Sasuke who was just dug out of the ground by Tokiha's shadow clone. When the two of them saw this scene, they were also surprised. They never thought that Shiyu could grab the bell by himself, and it was completely effortless. IQ completely overwhelms them. And Sasuke was surprised and jealous at the same time, because he has always been pretentious, but now he lost to Tokiyu. Although he didn't lose in the head-to-head battle, there was always a trace of unwillingness in his heart. However, what he is most worried about now is the promotion spot. Because there are only 2 bells, and now both bells are in Shiyu's hands, and Shiyu and Naruto are best friends. In Sasuke's view, Tashiya will definitely give Naruto one. If that's the case, then he will be eliminated and he will go back to the ninja school to retrain. At this point, Sasuke is full of unwillingness. At this moment, Kakashi also raised this question. Shiyu, now you have 2 bells in your hand, which means you have advanced. Of course, I said a bell can get a guy through. So, you have the right to let either of them advance with you. Kakashi pointed to Naruto and Sasuke between the words. Don't think about it, this is the final assessment of Kakashi. No matter who Shiyu chooses to let him advance with, or whoever does not choose, he will not be able to pass Kakashi's assessment. Shiyu, tell me your choice. Hearing Kakashi's words, Naruto and Sasuke's eyes also fell on Tokiyu, waiting for the latter's answer. Naruto believed that Tokiyu would definitely choose him, and Sasuke believed that Tokiyu would definitely give up on him. However, Shiyu's final answer surprised everyone. Only elementary school students make choices. Now that I've graduated, either let all 3 of us make the cut or none of us make the cut. Kakashi was stunned for a long time before asking, why? It's easy because we're a team now. As a team, the most important thing is to advance and retreat together. And, if Naruto and Sasuke didn't consume your chakra, you wouldn't take it so lightly if they weren't trapped, and I wouldn't be able to get it easily. So, the 2 of them are also indirectly involved. Kakashi was completely stunned by Tokiyu's words. He never imagined that such profound words would come from the mouth of a 12-year-old boy. Chapter 18 Officially, Genin. When Naruto heard the words, he hurriedly said. Shiyu, what are you doing? Why are we going to advance and retreat with that nasty bastard? Hearing Naruto's words, Sasuke also came back to his senses. In his heart, he was very grateful for Shiyu's actions, but he still pretended to be cold on the surface and said indifferently. I don't need your pity. After hearing what Naruto and Sasuke said, Kakashi asked again. Shiyu, I don't have this option here. If you insist on insisting, then I can only deprive you of the promotion qualification and let them both advance. Even so, are you going to persist? As long as I'm still part of this team, my choice will never change, and if I want to be Naruto and Sasuke, they'll make the same decision as me. Shiyu said with a righteousness and awe, and he seemed to have sacrificed himself greatly, but in fact he had already seen through Kakashi's mind. And This bowl of chicken soup can also make Naruto and Sasuke fall in love with. Oh no, admire yourself, thus establishing his position as the leader of the team. In that case, I am as you wish. Hearing Kakashi's words, Naruto and Sasuke were stunned, and Naruto, Tokiyu's best friend, was the first to sit still. Kakashi-sensei, if Tokiyu can't make the cut, I won't accept the promotion either. Naruto's voice just fell, and Sasuke also agreed. Me too. By sacrificing teammates in exchange for qualifying for promotion, I would rather not. Hearing these two words, Kakashi was also very relieved. In fact, in his heart, Shiyu's performance was already qualified, and his later remarks were nothing more than to test Naruto and Sasuke. Looking at the three people in front of him, Kakashi said in a high voice, I now officially announce that you qualified. Shiyu was not surprised by this result. Because everything is under his control, but Naruto and Sasuke are extremely stunned. He obviously did not expect Kakashi to give such a result. What's going on here? Naruto in the conversation was stunned, and even Sasuke looked puzzled. Ninjas should not only have a calm mind, but more importantly, have a sense of teamwork. If they even ignore their partners, that is the worst. Furthermore, after some rhetoric, Kakashi spoke again to the three of them. The exercise is over, all qualified. From tomorrow, the 7th team will officially start its mission. After hearing Kakashi's words, Naruto and Sasuke finally believed in this fact. They passed the test and officially became genin. At this moment, Naruto's joy was all written on his face, and he immediately gave Shiyu a big hug. I didn't expect that we all passed, ha ha ha. Even Sasuke, who has always been indifferent, had a faint smile on his face at this moment. Although it was only for a moment, it was captured by Tokiyu. Obviously, Sasuke has recognized the existence of teammates. In his opinion, if there was no Shiyu today, he and Naruto would never have passed the assessment. It is also because of this that his gaze towards Shiyu has changed slightly. ... Immediately after. Right. The four of them had a pleasant lunch together, during which Kakashi found Tokiyu again. Because there are still a few puzzles in his mind. When Kakashi just walked up to Tokiyu, Tokiyu was the first to speak before he could speak. Kakashi-sensei, do you want to ask me why I know your hobby? Shiyu, you are the smartest student I've ever met, no one. Kakashi couldn't help but praised Shiyu again. The so-called know yourself and the enemy, you will be able to fight 100 battles. After knowing that the instructor for the assessment is you, I did some research on you overnight, and learned that every time you assess students, you always read a book, so I focused on this aspect. So it is. Kakashi, who was talking about it, also suddenly realized, and glanced at Shiyugao again, and at the same time became more and more interested in the latter. Although Tokiyu was talking nonsense in earnest, Kakashi could only believe it. Otherwise, he can't think of the second possibility. Then this book. Oh, I wrote it myself. Hearing Moyu's words, Kakashi knelt down completely. He knelt down was not Shiyu's strength, but Shiyu's thoughts. He was obviously a 12-year-old kid, how could his thoughts be so avant-garde? At such a young age, he was able to write a book comparable to Intimacy in Paradise, and he was even better than that. Shiyu, can we discuss something? What's the matter? Words. Kakashi looked at Naruto and Sasuke, and after making sure that the two could not hear their conversation, he whispered. Can you give me this book? What am I supposed to do? Shiyu pretended to be surprised, and then said, it's just a book, if Kakashi-sensei likes it, take it. Refreshing. As a teacher, you can't take your things for nothing. If you have anything in the future, feel free to come to me, as long as it is within my ability, I will help you. The student thanked the teacher here first. It should be, Kakashi said with a smile. After a brief conversation between the two, Kakashi asked the three of them to go back to rest early and disbanded. Because tomorrow they will start their mission. Back to the residence. Today's battle between Kakashi and Sasuke in his mind, and then he combined what he usually learned. 100-fold talent and Sharingan as the backing, it is not very difficult to master it. In just half an hour, his physical skills have been greatly improved. After seeing the results of his practice, Tokyo felt that he should be able to defeat Sasuke by relying on his physical skills without turning on Sharingan. As for Kakashi, there is still a long way to go. However, in Shiyu's view, as long as he activates the second reward, it should not be a problem to surpass Kakashi. If not, Shiyu, who is 100 times talented, would obviously have to spend a lot of time to hone his physical skills to surpass Kakashi. No way, the 100-fold improvement is really limited. Thinking of this, Shiyu suddenly thought of the strongest physique in the Hokage world. Open black lens bracket. The 8 inner gates. Close black lens bracket. Chapter 19 Supreme Physical Art. The 8 inner gates. Open black lens bracket. The 8 inner gates. Close black lens bracket. The key to this body art lies in lifting the body's restriction on chakra. In the meridian system of chakra flow, the places that inhibit and control the chakra in the body are open door, Huiman, Shungman, injury gate, Duman, Jingmun, shocked door, and death door. These 8 gates limit the amount of chakra in the human body, so that the human body can always maintain a healthy state. Even if the stored chakra is depleted, it will not harm the human body. Open black lens bracket. The 8 inner gates. Close black lens bracket. Dunjia training is extremely difficult, otherwise, there will not be only a few people in the entire Konoha ninja village who can become masters. Only 3 are known so far: Might Guy, S father, Might Guy, Little Lee Rock. Open black lens bracket. The 8 inner gates. Close black lens bracket. How strong is it? Only 4 words can be used to describe such horror, such as the 4th floor ninja war. Might Guy, Night Guy, almost kicked to death, 6 paths Madara. This is where the name, Guy Emperor, comes from. Even Emperor Guy's father, Might Guy, became famous because of this, leaving a legend in the hidden village of Konoha. As eternal old genin, he opened the last gate of the 8 inner gates, in order to protect his Might Guy, Shiranui Genma and Ebisu in the 3rd Ninja War. Alone against the first batch of Ninja Swordsman 7. Open black lens bracket. Broken sword. Katakana middle dot. Decapitation sword. Close black lens bracket. The user, Biwa Juku. Open black lens bracket. Big sword. Shark muscle. Close black lens bracket. User, Sukazan Fubuki. Open black lens bracket. Long knife needle. Close black lens bracket. User, Kuriarer Kushimaru. Open black lens bracket. Dull knife. Kabuto cut. Close black lens bracket. User, Akabi no Jinin. Open black lens bracket. Explosive knife. Droplets. Close black lens bracket. User, Munashi Jinpachi. Open black lens bracket. Thunder blade. Kiba. Close black lens bracket. User, Kurosuke Thunder Kiba. Open black lens bracket. Double knives. Flamingo. Close black lens bracket. The user is unknown. As a result, Might Guy killed the first owner of open black lens bracket. Munashi Jinpachi. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Akabi no Jinin. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Kuriarer Kushimaru. Close black lens bracket. And open black lens bracket. Double knife flounder. Close black lens bracket. And, only, Kurosuke Rai Kiba, Biwa Juku, and Sukazan Fubuki survived. So far, there are 3 remaining members of the Ninja Blade 7. How powerful this the 8 inner gates technique is. That's why it is extremely difficult to cultivate. Forbidden technique that will cause harm to the body, and it is basically forbidden to practice. But Shiyu chose to cultivate. The first 3 gates of the 8 inner gates would only put a load on the body, and basically would not cause any harm. 5 gates, after the 4th gate, injury gate, will cause damage to the body, and these 5 gates are the 8 inner gates. Because that increase is incomparable. Shiyu has a system as a guarantee, as long as he gets Hashirama's sage body, in the future, he can open the 7 doors at will. As for the 8th door, it can only be used when the master has the power of 6 paths. Otherwise, it is fatal. So, in the next few days, Shiyu is also constantly honing his physical skills, because he has just started to perform tasks, which are mainly D-level tasks. It's basically trivial things, nothing dangerous at all. Tokiyu also took this opportunity to make his taijutsu reach an ultimate, and now he has opened the first 3 gates of the 8 inner gates. Basically no problem. Coupled with his amazing chakra, the use will often increase. But unfortunately, he has not been able to break through the 4th door. Unsurprisingly, there should be 2 reasons. First, the physical fitness has not yet reached the standard. Second, the time to practice the 8 inner gates is still short, and the current talent is not enough to break the 4th gate in a short time. You must know that Might Dai took decades to cultivate, and Emperor Guy is based on his father's experience. Start exercising from a young age, and you can master it at a young age. And the little Lee Rock, who spent 6 or 7 years, has only mastered the 5th door now. But what about Shiyu? In just 3 days, he directly cultivated to the level of 3 doors. If a few of them knew about it, they would have to be frightened on the spot. Especially Might Dai, it is estimated that the coffin board can't be held down. So it is. Tokiyu didn't feel bored during the mission in the past few days. But Naruto complained because of this. Except for the eagerness on the first day, there was almost no motivation in the next few days. Moreover, I always like to compete with Sasuke during missions. Until the 4th day, under Naruto's complaints, the 3 generations Sarutobi Hiruzen finally sent them a C-level mission. It's an escort mission. The content is to escort a man named Dasna to the Land of Waves. For this task, Naruto can be described as very motivated. And Sasuke is also very interested in this, and being able to go out of the village to experience has always been what he has been looking forward to. As for Shiyu, he has long been waiting for this mission to come. Because the mission this time is linked to the mission of the system, it is no surprise that they will meet one of the second batch of Ninja Swordsman 7 this time, and Teodi will not be cut. Nicknamed Ghost Man, the second user of Broken Sword Katakana Middle. Decapitation Sword. The first user of this sword is called Biwa Juzo, the first partner of Uchiha Itachi, who just joined the open black lens bracket Akatsuki close black lens bracket organization. Cause of death, when Kazuto was on a mission to Kurigakure village, he encountered the 4th generation Mizukage and was killed by the tailed beast bomb, released after his tail beast transformation. The 4th generation of Mizukage, Karataki Yagura, 3 tails, Isophis human Jinchuriki, column force, one of the 3 major human Jinchuriki column forces that can perfectly control the tail beast. The other 2, Killer Bee, Uzumaki Naruto. The second batch of Ninja Sword 7 people only has 4 people. Broken Sword Katakana Middle. Decapitation Sword, the user, will not cut the peach land again. Open black lens bracket large sword shark muscle close black lens bracket, user, Hisame Hoshigaki. Open black lens bracket thunder blade Kiba close black lens bracket, user, Ringo Amayuri. Open black lens bracket double knives flamingo close black lens bracket, the user, Ghost Lamp Full Moon. Because the 3 knives long knife sewing needle, dull knife kabuto cut, and exploding knife droplet were not used, they were collected in the scroll by Ghost Lamp Full Moon. After receiving the task, Tokiyu, Kakashi and others did not delay, and left the village with the mission target, Dasna. Towards the Land of Waves. P.S. Ask for flowers and evaluation tickets, thank you old irons. Chapter 20 Inches Underworld, Ghost Brothers. Along the way, Kakashi also told Shiyu and the 3 about the general situation of the Genin world, mainly talking about the 5 villages representing the 5 countries. Fire Country, Konoha Hidden Village. The Land of Water, Kurigakure Village. The Land of Thunder, Kumogakure Village. The Land of Winds, Sunagakure Village. Land of Earth, Iwagakure Village. After Kakashi's introduction, Naruto also asked, Kakashi-sensei, is there a ninja in the country of waves? No. Kakashi replied and then explained, because the country of waves belongs to a country on a small island, and since it will not be affected by war, there is no need for the existence of a ninja village. There are many more countries like this on this continent. And not long after Kakashi's voice fell, a head suddenly emerged from a pool of water he was passing by. Needless to say, this must be a ninja. Immediately after, a figure appeared behind everyone, but it seemed that there was only one figure, but there were actually two people. The two were bound together like conjoined babies, connected by a claw chain, weapon in their hands. Before Naruto, Sasuke and others were aware of it, the two assassination ninjas had already launched an offensive. I saw one of them quickly throwing the other, and the two sides were tightly connected by a chain, and the cooperation was extremely tacit. Swish. Before everyone could react, Kakashi was directly tied up. Seeing this scene, Naruto also cried out. What's this? How is it? Sasuke was a little surprised when he saw this. He didn't expect that they would be targeted by assassination ninjas shortly after they left Konoha Ninja Village. After the genocide massacre that year, he still lived in this situation. But the first time Naruto encountered such a situation, he looked panicked. As a client, Dishonor saw this scene, and there was not much surprise. Obviously, this result was within his expectations. And as far as Shiyu knew, Dishonor really knew about it, but he just lied about the situation because he didn't have enough wealth. If it wasn't for the smooth trip to the Land of Waves to kill Peachland no more, Shiyu would have pierced him long ago. For the two people in front of them, others may not know their identities, but Shiyu knows it well. These two people are the powerful subordinates of Peachland no Severance, Ming-2, and Yi-2, known as Ghost Brothers. Kurigakure Village missing Nin, Chunin, strength. After they locked Kakashi, a mournful voice also came from Ming-2's mouth. The first one, die. Kakashi into a cloud of blood by pulling the extremely sharp chains. Seeing this scene, Naruto was really frightened. Kakashi-sensei was killed already. Looking at the pool of blood on the ground, apart from Tokihira and Sasuke, Naruto and Dishonor thought that Kakashi had farted. But in fact the pool of blood was made of wood, and the real Kakashi was hiding in the dark. Since Sasuke had fought head-to-head with Kakashi, he knew that the latter was powerful and could not be killed so easily. So, with a calm look on his face, the reason why Kakashi didn't appear in the first place was to see the ability of the three Tokyo to adapt to emergencies. Obviously, Naruto is not qualified this time. At this time, the Ghost Brothers have locked on the next target. The next moment, they appeared behind Naruto, and the sharp chains danced with them. At this moment, Naruto trembled, and he seemed to feel the threat of death. At this critical moment, Shiyu moved. He was one step faster than Sasuke, and saw that he instantly threw a cross dart, knocked the chain flying and nailed it to a big tree. Immediately afterwards, his arm waved again. Call out. A kunai also shot out, and then passed through the hole in the middle of the cross dart, accurately, nailing the chain firmly. Then, Shiyu took a leap. Standing directly on the arms of the two Ghost Brothers, they held their heads with both hands, and kicked out with both feet at the same time. Boom, boom. Without the slightest suspense, the two were directly kicked away by Shiyu. The rescued Naruto breathed a sigh of relief, but Sasuke, who saw this scene, couldn't help but stunned. Shiyu's taiju, when did it become so strong? No wonder Sasuke would have such an idea. Because when he was at the ninja school, Tokyo's taijutsu was very rubbish, and he was always at the bottom of the class every time. Survival exercise, 3 days ago, Shiyu also used his ingenuity to obtain the bell. But what about now? The physical skills Shiyu showed were no weaker than him, and even surpassed him. Because of Shiyu's speed just now, he thought he couldn't do it. Just when the two ghost brothers were about to fall to the ground, they simultaneously gave up the chains in their hands. Because of this, the two instantly stabilized their bodies. This time, they are targeting Gazna, because the latter is the target of their trip. As long as they are killed, their mission is complete. As for the others, it doesn't matter to them. Paying close attention to all the changes in the field, Sasuke noticed this, and immediately dodged directly in front of Dishonor, trying to protect his safety. This person is the person who guarded them on this trip. Once they die, it means the failure of their mission this time. This is Sasuke's first time out on a mission, and he will never allow himself to fail.